Hey y'all, this is Leslie. Y'all remember me? A long time no talk to, no hear from, all the things. But I just wanted to share this kind of like quick impromptu word. I was listening to a word from my sister friend, Bold for Christ, and I think it was from 5 days ago, and it was about counterfeits. And now I can't remember the name of it, but it was from 5 days ago. And basically in it, she was referencing like a knockoff purse, a counterfeit purse, and saying like how a fake Louis Vuitton doesn't hold, what a real Louis Vuitton doesn't look like, it looks like, but it's not the same. There's a difference. And so there are some people who are in counterfeit relationships or counterfeits are approaching them, are being put, in our paths to stop us or hold us up from the person that God has for us, right? The covenant spouse. The counterfeit is coming to try to divert us from the covenant spouse. Okay. So as she was speaking, it was a really good word. What God brought back to my remembrance, if you will, was a dream that I had. But I want to go but I'm just going to try to explain it. Okay. So back in February, let me preface it with this. When many people are like in their marriage season right now, right? Or God is preparing you for marriage, same difference, what have you. And you will start to be approached by, for women, various men or whatever, that will look like, sound like, all the things, or like what God has for you, or what's your type. That's what I should say. Okay. Cause I have a type, right? And I'm sure many of you do. You have certain things that you like, what have you. Okay. So back in February, and I'll say, cause I have the dates of these things. Okay. February 19th, I met an individual. Individual was individualing. Okay. I'm talking about brother was fine. Okay. My type. Okay. My type. Everything. Okay. And I was like, whew. Now, if you don't know, a little back history, I got divorced, February 2023, my divorce was finalized. However, we had been separated since 2021. So I had not dated all that time, right? And I just finally was like, okay, God, I hear you. Because in we're in 2024, January of 2024, I felt the Lord telling me like, it's time to be open to what I'm about to do. Like, you're going to meet your person and all that stuff. So in rushes some counterfeits. Okay. Several counterfeits is what I'll say. Okay. This was the first, right? This was the first counterfeit, and we met February 19th, and I was immediately like, oh, this got to be the one, because yes, like, God know I've been waiting a long time, and so now he's gonna send me this man that is fine, and all that unnecessary stuff, right? And so I was immediately like enamored. That's how you know it's lust. Okay, that's how you know it's lust, because I was just looking at him like he might not have had a brain in his head. He did. He actually did. And he has a lot of good qualities and things like that. But it doesn't matter. A counterfeit is a counterfeit is a counterfeit. When it's not who God intends for you, then it's just not who God intends for you. They could have the job, they could have the this, they could have the that, they could have the looks, they could have the smarts, they could have the relationship with God. Not even saying that the person is a bad individual or wouldn't be a good match for you, right? But if it's just not who God says is for you, it's just not who God says is for you. So here we go. So I meet this man, and I'm gonna tell you, I think I have to tell you his name, because I just have to tell you his name. But okay, so I meet him, and I'm like, yes, and we go out on a date, and yes, like, the date is wonderful. It's so nice. It's so refreshing. Haven't been on a date in a while. But I don't feel like brother was kind of like love bombing. not that he was doing too much, but it was just enough to be like, oh, you really like me? Like, we talked for a while before we went out and everything, but it was kind of like, I'm so into you. You know, that to me, giving me all the vibes, right? And so I was just like, oh, I really, really like him. Like, I really like him. Like, this could be it. This could be the one. I'll be happy with him, God. Like, just give him to me. I'm ready. Okay. And so that was February 19th that we went out on our first date. And I'm like, God, tell me, like, give me the deets. Tell me what, you know, like, I know this is it. So just confirm it for me. That's all I need you to do. On February 23rd, God gave me a dream. And this is how I know that this individual was not the individual for me, because when something is right, I've noticed that God doesn't give me a lot. Not saying that he doesn't confirm things, but he doesn't give me like an overabundance of confirmations, or sometimes he doesn't say anything. It just kind of depends. It's different for different situations, but there's like a piece that I get when I don't hear certain things. Does that make sense? And so when it's not what it's supposed to be, God will give me warnings. Like, he'll be like, no, like, here comes the dream of the Lord. Here comes the word of the Lord. Things of that nature, right? He will make sure that it's like, I'm telling you, no, stop right here, right there. Okay. But when it's like the right thing, it's kind of like, the doors are open, go. I'm not, excuse me if I'm spitting, I'm not giving you any, there's no breaks. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no stoplights. Like, I'm not saying like, watch out for this, pitfalls or whatever. Like, I'm just giving you the green light to go. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So February 23rd, I have this dream, and I'm going to try to remember as much as I can, or just give you the gist of it. But so anyhow, I'm at my former church, and I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, and for whatever reason, I have to go up on the stage, if you will, right? The pulpit area, to go to the bathroom. This is not how it's truly designed at the church, but I had to go up there, and I went down like a little hall, go to the bathroom. I'm coming back, and for whatever reason, I have my cousin's baby on my hip, but I'm walking again on the stage. And as I'm walking on the stage, there's a group of deacons, and they are off kind of like on the side of the stage, and they're talking, and they're looking at me. It's kind of like they're in a huddle. And one of the deacons, is like, literally, his name is Robert. Okay. And he's going like this, looking at me like that. So I could tell that he liked me or whatever. And he was being shy. He was being coy, if you will. But he had these, and now this person is a real person that I really knew. Okay. But he was kind of exaggerated. He had these really, really big, like, false teeth, really white, really big. And he, in real life, the way he wore his hair was kind of like in a slick ponytail. Ooh, brother, what's that? And it just looked very, what's the word? I want to say shisty. It was just like, you know, when something is slick, when a person is being slick, like they're up to something. And I'm not saying that he was, it was just the way that he wore his hair. He was actually a very nice man, but the way that he wore his hair just gave like, he up to something, or, yeah, slick, like a pimp named Slickback. Like, he just gave that type of vibe to me. Okay. And we just talking here, so y'all just bear with me. Okay. But that's the type of vibe that I got from his hair. Okay. Hair only, because he was a very nice person. Anyway, so in the dream, he's going like this, and he looks at me like, oh, I'm so in love. And I see these big fake teeth, and I look at that, and I notice that hair, and I'm like, what is he looking at? And then the deacons around him start to say, Robert is a really good man. He's a good man. Yeah, he is a good man. Man, he really, and so like, he's waving at me like this, and I'm like, let me get up off of this stage. And of course, because I'm up there on the stage, everybody's looking, and they're like, oh, her and him, ooh, and people are like, ooh, you know, and like that. And so I just get off the stage. I don't know where my little baby cousin went, but as I'm walking back to where I was sitting, because there were like tables in the sanctuary that people were sitting at, it wasn't like a church service. It was like we were just all kind of like fellowshipping, but in the main sanctuary. And as I'm walking back, the pastor is playing spades, and he goes, yeah, like he's giving his approval. And I'm thinking to myself, why would these people want to hook me up with him? And then that's the end of the dream. And so Hey y'all, I just wanted to interject right here and say, because I forgot to say this in the video, the fact that, okay, number one, Robert, the deacon Robert was a counterfeit, right? He was fake, he was false, like his teeth, right? He was the false covenant spouse, right? Not the person that God has for me. And the fact that the other deacons were pumping him up to me, as well as the congregation were oohing and awing, and the pastor was giving like his stamp of approval, if you will, spoke to me that there will be people who you believe have wisdom and have your best interest at heart, so to speak. They'll be in support of the counterfeit as well. And it's not necessarily their fault that they are, but again, this is the part of the enemy's plan to get you to derail your destiny and to get you into the hands of who God does not have for you. And you will find that those close to you that you think would be able to discern what is and what isn't, they will actually be in support. Okay, some will be used unaware. Some may actually know that that is not the right person for you. I mean, I can't say specifically for your situation, but there are people that sometimes are rooting for the wrong, that they want you to literally be outside of the will of God. So I just wanted to put that in as a disclaimer because I knew I forgot to say that in the video. So, okay, back to the video. After I had the dream, and obviously now you know that the guy that I met, his name was Robert. Oh my God. And I have this dream about this deacon named Robert, okay? And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what you're trying to say, God, because that don't make no sense. Like, what? Not my Robert, not the man that you've sent for me. No, I don't, no, this is an odd dream. It's an odd dream. Let's pretend it never happened, okay? Let's keep on talking to Robert because he's got to be the one. So, I keep on talking to Robert. Fool, why did you ignore this dream? Like, literally, you asked God right after the first day, give me a sign, tell me something, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't what I wanted to hear, right? It was not what I wanted to hear. And I ain't thinking about no counterfeit because this man is fine. So he can't be a counterfeit. And he's tall. Oh my God, he's so tall. God knows what I like, right? But God ain't sitting this one. God ain't sitting this one. So it wasn't like it was anything super bad or overt that happened or anything. Long story short, we only talked for maybe we did talk for like a month or so, month and a half, whatever. Anyhow, that was too long because God showed me on the fourth day, on the third day, when Jesus got up, he showed me that this was not who he had intended for me, right? But because it was not necessarily what I wanted to hear, and I was all enamored with this individual, I continued to try to pursue. And I kept getting signs that do not pursue, you can't get to who you're supposed to get to. Like, what's supposed to happen can't happen. Not so much that it can't happen, but it's delayed when you're fooling around with who you're not supposed to be entertaining. Does that make sense? Like, he was a nice guy. Nothing crazy happened. But it just wasn't. Like, the communication just wasn't what it was supposed to be. Like, we communicated, but it just wasn't what God had showed me was coming. It just wasn't what I knew that I deserved. Like, I'm sure he'll be great for somebody else, but there was a disconnect. Spiritually, I don't feel like we were on the same page. Like, yes, he was a Christian. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, we shared our beliefs and things. But, sometimes lip service is, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to act like I'm perfect. Y'all know I ain't perfect. But it just was not clicking. Oh, and that's going to be another word I have to... Anyway, it wasn't going together like a lock and a key and a lock. Do you understand what I'm saying? Prelude to another word that's coming. But anyway, I say all that to say, don't get caught up on the counterfeit. Be aware that they're there, that they're coming, that what God is going to send you is going to look like, sound like, walk like, talk like, be like whatever he told you is coming. And I think that if you're like me, you've written down things, and I've been going this past week or whatever and just reading over what God said is coming. And I just know that that individual did not line up with some of the things, some of the things, but God has just been talking to me and dealing with me in a way that lets me know, like, it's going to be to the T. It's going to be to the T. What I said is what I said. You're not going to have you. He told me that I would know. He told me that I would know. When that individual comes, I would know without a shadow of a doubt. I did not know without a shadow of a doubt about that man, right? I just knew that we baby, we'll look good together. Oh my God, But girl, it's nothing like being with a fine fool. And I'm not saying the man was a fool, but the man could have been a bit of a fool. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. And so, and not even just from him to me, but from me to him. If he's not for me, then that means I'm not for him. There's something else that God has for him, just as well as there's something else that he has for me. So I hope that all that made sense. Don't ignore the word and the dream of the Lord, especially if you know that God is one who gives you warnings to keep you from falling. Because, baby, I was about to be Alicia Keys falling, okay? When I tell you I was falling. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. But you know what it also does is, because I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with dating if God has given you the green light to do so. If he tells you that you don't need to, then don't. Like, I'm not about to sit up here and be like, you got to date. No, you don't. Because I feel I know that there's not going to be a whole lot of dating per se involved with my person. It's going to be more like strategy. It's going to be like planning. It's going to be like, okay, it's going to be the topic of marriage is going to be a top. I asked God to send me somebody who would be marriage minded from the jump. You know what I mean? I asked God for certain things, and God has told me certain things will be happening. So there are going to be, things are going to move much more quickly than I'll necessarily be, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, I think that for a lot of people, it's going to be kind of shocking, because God's going to do what he's been telling you he's going to do. And it's going to be like, oh my goodness, it's here. It's upon me. Like, I'm in this thing now. And don't worry, don't doubt, don't have the fear. Just walk into it if you know that it is what God has called you to. And you might not get as many confirmations as you want. It depends on how he talks to you. But I also feel like in some cases, when it's wrong, you will probably get warnings. I hope you'll get warnings. I get warnings. Does that make sense? God be warning me. He be trying to save my silly self from the foolishness, honey. A lot of emotional stuff, yeah. Because we get caught up, it's easy to get wrapped up and caught up in a counterfeit or what you think. And because you know you're in your marriage season and you're like, is that it? Is that him? Is that her? Is that did? And God's like, just chill, just sit down, just talk to me, just bring all things to me so I can help you sort this stuff out, because you don't know what you're doing in the first place. That's where you at now. You need to sit down. Just take a rest. Just get somewhere and sit down. So, yeah, I hope that all of that makes sense. I love you all. Thank you for listening to my little diatribe, if you will. I'll be back with more, but I actually will this time, because I've been gone for a long time, and I ain't even got no excuse. Child, pray for me, because what be going on in my head? I don't know. I love y'all. Bye.